saw this conversation, right? I saw this post and I was like, what would I do if I happen to find myself in that situation? But seeing that we are from like a traditional African home, we are Africans basically, and it's almost like a taboo to have certain conversations here in Africa. We feel like, or in Nigeria, let me not just say the entire Africa, but yeah, it's almost like a taboo to have certain conversations here. And you know, there's something that thrives in ignorance. When people are ignorant about things, they can easily make uninformed decisions. Now, some part of me is like, how about we let people know all of these things so that they can make informed decisions, right? But again, let's just spill the bean. The question for today is, how would you react if your baby girl, your 10-year or 11-year-old child, walks up to you and asks you, what do you think about abortions? What would be your honest reaction if your baby girl or your baby boy walks up to you and they're quite young, you know, your teenage baby is 10 years, 11 years, walks up to you and asks you, Mommy, Daddy, what do you think about abortions? What would be your honest reaction? Ladies and gentlemen, this is the question for today. Now, we want to hear your undiluted reactions because I know a couple of us are like, in Africa, African home, a Nigerian mom. Come up here and let us know what your thoughts are about that. How would you react if your child walks up to you and asks you, what do you think about abortions? The number to call are 090-7353-00 and 44 or 090-8766-8888. Remember, we have a WhatsApp portal number that you can send your messages to, your voice notes, your thoughts, your text messages, basically everything to on
090-9705-4450.
What would you be your honest reaction if your baby walks up to you and asks you, what do you think about abortions? Welcome to the Sunny Side Show. Good afternoon to you.
Good afternoon.
Yes, welcome and thanks for joining us. Please tell us your name and where you're calling from.
My name is Esther and I'm calling from Blue Bay.
Hi Esther, how are you doing?
I'm good.
All right, Esther, please tell us, how do you react if your baby girl or boy walks up to you and asks you, Mommy, what do you think about abortions?
I'm going to freak out, honestly. I'm going to freak out and
Okay.
be like, have you done an abortion? Or are you about to do an abortion? Like, I'm
Okay.
seriously going to freak out. Or when I'm calm, I'll sit you down and then we'll talk about it. You tell me your reason for asking. If you asked because you wanted to, then I'll feel like, okay, I failed as a mother, not knowing, because I didn't know you were into all this kind of thing. But if you just wanted to have knowledge about it, I'll just tell you about it and tell you how particularly wrong it is.
Okay.
Basically, I think that's what I would do.
Okay. So you sound like you're going to freak out. You sound like you're going to freak out. But anyways, thank you so much for that. Yeah? Go on. I can hear you.
Yeah, I was not really. When I heard the question, I was like, oh my god, what the fuck? 11 years old?
Language.
Wow.
Language.
No,
Oh, okay.
okay.
All right.
So I was really going to freak out.
All right.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for that. Let's keep it coming through. What would be your honest reaction if your 10, 11 or teenage child walks up to you and asks, Mommy, Daddy, what do you think about abortions? Now, many times the way we react to these things will determine what our relationship with our children will be eventually. So have this in mind. Hi, John. Oh, come on. I wanted to wish him a happy birthday. All right, let's keep it coming through. 090735300 and 44. Hello, good afternoon to you.
Good afternoon.
Hi.
How you doing? Nice work.
Very well, thank you, darling. Please tell us your name and where you're calling from.
My name is Annie.
Hi, honey. Why do you sound different every time?
Okay.
All right, Annie, tell me, how do you react if your child walks up to you and asks you, what do you think about abortions?
Well, first of all,
Mm-hmm.
I'll ask the child, like, where did you get that from? And then after some time, I'll sit the child down and explain to the child, and I'll let the child know that it's a very wrong thing to do.
Okay.
And even give biblical example, I'll make sure I educate the child according to her age or age.
Appropriate, okay, age appropriate conversation.
Explanation just according to the child's age.
All right,
so that because most parents, when children come with questions like that, they just like shut up. And when the children goes out, they get the wrong information. So I'll just make sure I just give a little bit explanation just according to the child's age. That's what I will do.
Okay. All right, Annie, let me ask you something. You know, I hear you say that you tell your child that abortion is a completely bad thing, right? That it's wrong for you to do an abortion. Do you think that this is consistent in every situation? So say, for instance, someone gets raped and having that child will be a constant reminder of the trauma they had to go through while they were being raped. Do you think that doing an abortion at that time will also be wrong?
Well, I think it should be wrong.
Okay. Why do you think so? Why do you think so?
If let me say the child got raped and got pregnant, then the next thing that comes to your mind is abortion.
Okay.
When the child conceives.
Oh, come on. I'd have loved to hear you answer that question, Annie. But yes, before we continue, happy birthday to one of our very ardent listeners here on radio, John O'Day. Ring a bell to that one. Hi, John. Happy birthday to you. All of us here at Eagles 102.3 FM is wishing you a very happy birthday. Benedicta also sent her love to you. Thank you so much for being here every step of the way. We pray that God blesses you and keeps you strengthened at all times.
Amen.
Happy birthday to you, John. Now let's go on to the business of today. Hello, good afternoon to you.
Hello.
Yes, good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Madam.
Hi, John. Happy birthday to you.
Happy birthday, John.
Thank you so much. How are you doing now?
Very well, thank you. How are you doing today? How did you celebrate?
I'm doing fine. I traveled. I'm no longer in Abuja. I'm in Benue State.
Oh, okay. How was your trip? I hope you went well.
Yes. I'm in Benue now.
All right. Thank you so much, John, for joining us. Do you want to be a part of the conversation? Tell us.
I was trying to connect. It is not connecting.
Oh, okay. So we'll tell you. What do you think about abortions? If your child walks up to you and asks you, what do you think about abortions? What would your honest reaction be at that time?
My reaction will be very, very bad. I don't like abortion.
Okay.
Okay.
Instead of her aborting the child,
Okay.
She keep the child and give birth to it. I'll be the one to send the child.
Okay.
So there's nothing. The person that is human being.
Okay.
So aborting the child is just like you killing somebody.
Okay.
So killing somebody is not that good. So I will not.
All right. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, John. And enjoy your trip. Do enjoy your trip. Let's keep it coming through, guys. What do you think about abortions as a person? And then if your child walks up to you, your 10-year-old, your 12 or your teenager child walks up to you, boy or girl, and asks you, what do you think about abortion? What would your honest reaction be? Hello, good afternoon to you.
Good afternoon, Madam.
Hi, good afternoon. Welcome and thanks for joining us on the show.
Welcome.
All right. Tell us your name and where you're calling from.
My name is the only Solomon language in the whole world.
Solomon! Hi, Solomon. How are you doing today?
I'm good.
All right. Good to have you join us today. So tell me, Solomon, if your child walks up to you and asks you, what do you think about abortion, Daddy? What would your honest reaction be?
I first of all ask the children, where did you hear this kind of
Okay.
after that, I will tell you that I tell you that abortion is a crime.
Is it crime?
Crime.
It's a crime. If you do abortion, God will not forgive you.
Yay.
God will punish you.
Okay. Thank you, Solomon language. But that's rather harsh and
That's right.
you know
That's
quite
very, very
rash, right? So let's move on. Those are his thoughts anyway. Let's move on. Tell us, what do you think about abortions? And if your child walks up to you and asks you, what do you think about abortions? What would your honest reactions be? In fact, I'm not surprised to see some of the reactions we're getting here on radio because I mean, as Africans, again, we have quite an impression about these things. But let's keep it coming through. Hello, good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Mata.
Yes, so welcome and thanks for joining us on the show. Please do tell, what's your name and where you're calling from?
My name is Sonny. I'm calling from Korea.
All right. Tell us, what are your thoughts about this?
Actually, it's not something surprising because, you know, these days, children hear things, they watch movies, they read, they will want to, they're so inquisitive to know what that is all about. So if a child should ask me what the question, I will not be wondering or try to say, show him or her off. I will draw the person's attention and let him or her know what it's all about. And on the other hand, it's bad. It's not like when my son was called to me, a daughter 7 years.
Okay.
He said, Mommy, we are at the parlor watching. He said, Mommy, this is your baby that's your stomach. Where will it come out from? And my daddy doesn't have tell him why. You know, we're looking at each other.
I will answer this one now.
Wanted to show her up. I said, no, explain to her.
Yeah.
She's 7 years. She's celebrated 7 years this year.
Exactly.
So he said, okay, you know, God created mother to give birth. So your father don't have the tummy to carry baby. That is why she is the one to carry the baby. That's why. So, okay, I know. Now, where is the baby coming out from? We are surprised. It's okay. When the baby wants to come out, we go hospital, we give birth. So other things you will know when you grow up. Okay. So that is just that how to explain this story.
All right, kudos to you. Kudos to you for that one. We celebrate you for that one. Thank you so much. We need to get these children educated about these things. Now, there's one thing people always say: if you don't educate your children about certain things, society will.
Educate
you know,
them.
the conversations are necessary because if you don't teach your children about some of these very important topics, society will teach them, and you cannot determine what the society
They will teach them the wrong
They will
way.
teach them anything, and at that point, you have little to no contribution as to what they learn or what they adopt as a thought pattern. Hello, good afternoon to you.
How are you doing?
Very well, thank you. Please tell us your name and where you're calling from.
Okay, my name is Kuku, calling you from Airport Road.
Kuku? Is that what you said?
Kuku, K-O-K-O.
Okay, Coco. Well, pretty name. Thank you so much for joining us, Coco. Tell us, what are your thoughts about this? How would you react if your child walks up to you?
It's not something that you'll be crazy over the child.
Okay.
Especially the age that you just mentioned, 10 years, 15 years, 12 years.
Okay.
It's still a teenager. You just want to have idea.
Yeah.
So what you should do as a parent, just to let the child know the implication of doing abortion.
Okay.
That number one, even God will not be happy with you. That is not good. Even government will not be happy with you.
Okay.
Number two. Number three, your life as a person who wants to commit the abortion is at stake.
Yeah.
Understand? Then the life of that innocent child that you want to commit the abortion, the blood is in your hand.
Okay.
Then I don't know, like maybe when you end up growing up to marry and you are looking for a child, you might not have it.
Okay.
So all these things are implication of someone that commit abortion.
Okay.
So it's not only those. Our parents will start like some callers say they will shout the child, they will shout. No, it's not a matter of shouting at the child. But rather you let the child know implication of those things that it is wrong and it's not advisable.
Okay.
If maybe peradventure it happens, it's better for you to keep birth to that child than to abort.
All right.
Thank you. That's my take.
All right. Thank you. Thank you so much. Let's keep it coming through.
Hello.
Hello.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Mata.
Good afternoon. Welcome and thanks for joining us.
Thanks. Yes. This is Uche calling from Akamata.
Oh.
Hi, Uche. It's good to have you join us.
All right, let's hear you.
Thank you. Mata, you know, one thing, it is the duty of and responsibility of the parents to educate their children.
Yeah.
And there are a lot of things that if the parents fail to let the child know, definitely that child will know that thing, but he or she might know it in a wrong way.
Yeah.
if a child asks about abortion, that gives a parent's opportunity to educate that child on that topic. It is true that there are some certain times we need to take cognizance of their age and what we tell them.
Yeah.
However, children are very curious, and they ask questions to satisfy their curiosity. And most times, your answer will lead to the next questions.
Yeah.
So children are meant that way. So that is not the right time to start bullying them, telling them to go, all of that. Tell him, he needs to know. He asked a question. And that question, if he's not satisfied, if you don't answer him, he will ask another person.
Exactly.
So there is no need to shy about it.
Okay.
Educate him. Tell him God's view of abortion first.
Okay.
And also tell him, let him or her know the health implication of abortion. What may be of results or of its results.
Okay.
And the dangers of it.
Okay.
By the time he or she knows all of these things, he will now decide within himself that, oh, this thing is truly bad. And you also tell him what leads to abortion as well. So the child is learning. By so doing, you are telling him, you are trying to let him to distinguish between right and wrong on his own, so that whenever the situation presents itself tomorrow, he will be able to take his stance.
Okay. All right. Thank you so much, Uche. Thank you for breaking that down in the way that you did. Yes, he said at the time when the child asks that question, it's not a time to start scolding them or start yelling at them, and which is a mistake that a lot of us do so many times. But yes, let's keep the conversation rolling. But first, let's head out to get our cash. And when we get back, we'll keep up the conversation. Please do not go anywhere and do not think about touching that dial, because we will be right back.
awara sambe ya inugo maka ụlọ ọrụ ọgbara ọhụụ bụ Igba ọka omeni gbasara ilekọta na idozi ụgbọala na Abuja. BB Empire Services Limited bụ ekwekọ ma gba egwu eji anyị na-edozi ụgbọala site na injin gaa na breki ịtụ mmanụ n'obi injin. Anyị na-arụpụtakwa akụrụngwa pụrụ iche bụ Igba maka ụgbọala gị. Anyị ji igwe oje na mmụọ kọmputa enyocha ahụ ụgbọala gị niile. BB Empire na-eji igwe oje na mmụọ katraka esochi ụgbọala gị ma chọpụta ụgbọala ndị na-efu efu. Ọ bụ igwe ntụ oyi n'ime ụgbọala, ọ bụ akụrụngwa ọbụla ị chọrọ maka ụgbọala ọbụla, kpọtụọrọ anyị na BB Empire Service Limited taa. Ụlọ ọrụ anyị bụ ejesi ọgwụ dị na plot 1374 Cadastral Zone C16 n'ogologo ụzọ Julius Berger Idu Industrial District Abuja. Nwanyị taa n'akara 08064343331 maọbụ 09010 Limited. Ebe jedebelu n'ihe ụgbọala gị chọrọ maka ịma mma na ọdịmma. Ngwa wepụ ọsọ.
Anyone told you you can talk about your business on radio for just
20,000 naira?
Get a chance to talk your business for 25 minutes on The Entrepreneur. Mondays to Fridays, 3 p.m. on Eagles 102.3 FM, Abuja. For more inquiries, call 090-9984-4433. 090-9984-4433. Hurry now.
Playing the best music from yesterday, today, and tomorrow. This is 102.3 Eagles 102.3. You ready for this?
Keep that frequency clear.
We're live.
I woke up with a
Alrighty, welcome back and thanks for staying with us. You're still tuning to Eagles 102.3 FM, and this is your radio experience you can count on. This is the Afropop Hour, and of course, is where we get to ask you the question for today. And today's question is quite simple and straight to the point, but very shocking too. If your 10-year-old or your teenage child walks up to you and says, "Mommy" or "Daddy," what do you think about abortions? What would your honest reaction be at this time? Let's hear you. Hello, good afternoon.
Hello, good afternoon.
Yes, welcome and thanks for joining us on the show. Tell us your name and where you're calling from.
This is Julius calling from Abuja.
Hi, Julius.
Hi, how are you doing?
Very well, thank you. So, Julius, tell us, what would your honest reaction be if your child asked you that question?
First of all, let me comment on all this our dad is calling.
Okay.
They are trying to play nice already, right?
They're pretending, Abi.
They are pretending. I know many of them. If you ask them such kind of question, they'll first of all hold your neck.
Upper cord straight.
They will give you upper cord straight. And, but really, to be frank, it is good to inform your children at that age. Let them know what life is.
Okay.
You don't allow them to go into the water like that to learn it from somewhere else.
Okay.
I'll give you an example of like a dog that is caged for a very long time. If you happen that you open that cage, you see that dog will be excited to tour, maybe go around before it come back to you. That's how children is. So you just have to allow them to explore. Ask you questions. In the polite way, you answer them. You draw them back to yourself. So that's my own
contribution. Thank you so much. We hear you. Thank you so much for that contribution. Even though you say our African fathers are pretending, but I mean, I think change has happened. And they're starting to shift the way they see things. You know, prior to now, it's not a comeback. In fact, it's an abomination. Like,
to even talk about it, children are even scared of even having conversations with their parents.
Yes. Even period, you see girls who just started seeing their period, you know, experiencing changes in their body. They can't freely have these conversations with their parents because they are scared the parent to ask them, where did you learn that from? And it's I don't know. That's why I keep saying Africa, because if you hear other African countries, you know, children from other African countries talk about these things, you hear them say that African parents had the same thing everywhere. You know, in fact, I couldn't even mention the word pregnant in the presence of my parents. Like, how dare you? What do you know? What do you know as pregnancy? You know, that's an abominable word to be heard in the family at those times. But again, look at that time and look at the kind of mistakes that people made. I know that even right now, regardless of the fact that people have this information on their fingertips, they still make mistakes. Yeah.
Yes.
But I mean, it's choice at the end of the day. If I have an information, I know the consequence of the decisions that I'll be making, and I still go ahead to make that decision. I cannot blame anybody for the decision, how that decision turns out.
Yes.
Right. So I can't blame anybody for that because I have all of the information and I decided I wanted to do that. But in an instance where I don't have the information, I cannot be blamed, you know, at all for anything I decide or whatever I think that situation to be. But yes, this is the Afropop Hour and it's Eagles 102.3 FM, your radio experience you can count on. And we're still asking, how do you react if your child walks up to you and says, "Mommy, Daddy, what do you think about abortions?" I would definitely love to hear what your thoughts are. But let's go on to read some messages. This one says, "I'll be thrown off balance by the question. I'll let her know that it's her body and her decision, no matter what society says. I'd encourage her to fully understand the emotional and physical aspect and also the consequences of unplanned pregnancy, how it can impact her health, her education, and future opportunities. I would remind her that she's not alone, and whatever choice she makes, I'll support her fully. My priority is her well-being and making sure she feels empowered to choose what's best for her life. The conversation can be uncomfortable, but we sure need to have it. Now, yeah, you have something to say about that?
No, nothing.
Nothing, absolutely nothing. But this one also says, Esther says, you cannot be a Christian and be pro-choice. Wow. Yes, come from my head, but don't deny the truth. For Christians here, the ones who truly believe in our Lord and Savior Jesus, the giver of life, the one who said, before you were born, I knew you, the one who said, thou shalt not kill. If he's truly your Lord and your God, then you should be solidly pro-life. Even if you have made mistakes in the past and committed abortions, our God is merciful. But in these days, there's no sitting on the fence, no gray areas. There is truth and the opposite of that. May God help us all. This is what that text says. Let's go on. Hello, good afternoon to you.
Hello, my friend.
Hi, you.
Hi.
Oh my God, you came and left like that. Oh, come on. Well, you see the conversation about abortions in Nigeria, it is very complex and it's a very sensitive issue. And, you know, this issue is mostly influenced by our cultural backgrounds, religious and legal factors, different factors that influence, you know, this conversation called abortion. And that's why many times people don't come out to have it openly. But let's see who this person is. Hello, good afternoon to you.
Hello, Masha.
Hi, you. Good afternoon, darling. How are you?
I'm good. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. It's good to have you join us here.
Thank you.
All right, talk to us, you.
Okay. As for me, honestly, I was so hard that abortion is a sin before God.
Okay.
So if you abort the baby, and if something happens, or if you die, you are here before God. What will you solve?
Okay.
So keep your body. Your body is the temple of God.
Okay.
Keep your body for your husband, the man that will come and marry you.
Okay.
He will not spoil. He will enjoy you only for your husband. Okay. Our body is only for our husband and God. That is all.
All right.
So please, if you okay.
All right,
please, if you marry,
let me ask you this question.
Okay.
Do you realize that even married women do abortions too?
Yes.
Yes.
So do you think that when they are married, there's a justification to doing that? But when you are single, there's no justification to doing that?
It's not good at all.
Both married or single?
Even that one, yes, both married and the single, it's not good. But if you marry, if their abortion is if the pregnant is by mistake, you didn't know.
Okay.
That one will not be a problem before God, because even God knows that you love the baby and the baby aborts by himself.
Okay.
You know, that one is different. But you take medicine, drink, abort it. No, that one is a thing before God.
All right. Thank you so much, you for that contributions there. Thank you. Let's go on. Hello, good afternoon to you.
Hello, good afternoon.
Good afternoon. Tell us your name and where you're calling from.
Yeah, my name is Pius. I'm calling from Jupoy.
All right.
Hi, Pius.
Thank you, Pius. Let's hear you.
Yeah, first of all, I must say that I have been looking for I've been waiting for you to announce this number even once, and you never did.
Oh, please forgive us for that. Sorry
I'm a first caller. I have to go and Google it, call one number, and the guy
Thanks for calling.
All right, thank you. It's a first time caller. Thank you so much for joining us. Apologies. We'll do better next time. Talk to us. What are your thoughts on this?
Well, my thought on this, if I am a father anyway,
yes,
and I have a child of that age,
yeah,
a girl,
yeah,
so if she walks up to me and asks this question,
yeah,
the first thing I will do is to ask her what is her own understanding of abortion. Okay. Because before she walks up to me, she must have had it somewhere, either from a classmate or from a teacher or from somebody.
Okay.
So what is her own understanding of abortion?
Okay.
So if I get her own understanding, then I will correct the impression. Either she had a wrong impression or she had a positive impression. I will correct it to the best of my own knowledge.
Okay.
I will start by explaining to her what abortion is.
Yes.
All right?
Okay.
Then I will talk to her from the legal perspective of abortion, from the societal perspective,
Okay.
from the spiritual perspective, and from the medical perspective.
Okay.
All right?
Yes.
So, based on my own understanding, abortion on its own is not bad. It depends on how you look at it.
Okay.
Now, if a child of 12 years got pregnant, for instance,
Okay.
okay,
Okay.
it will be very difficult to ask that child to give the pregnancy because, first of all, that child, the womb is not matured enough to carry pregnancy.
Okay.
Secondly, the cervix or the vaginal wall or whatever it is.
Language,
is
please.
not-
We're on radio, so be very cautious with your language.
Okay, so gynecologically, that child is not mature to carry pregnancy. So at the end of the day, the child, that is the baby in the womb and the mother,
Okay.
you know,
Yeah.
are at risk. Okay? We may end up losing the baby and losing the mother. So the best thing to do at this stage is to abort the pregnancy. Okay? Now, what if the child has some medical conditions that does not that will not allow the child to keep the pregnancy? The best thing is to abort it. What if she has multiple fibroids that the child cannot grow? So are you going to keep the child pregnancy? The health is at risk, the baby will not be born, and the mother will die. So what have you achieved?
Okay.
Okay? Now, what if this child was raped or maybe gang raped, and the child is living with a trauma, post-traumatic stress disorder, and other form of... Will you like this child to live with depression for the rest of his life? Maybe in the future, the child may even commit suicide. So what have you achieved? Okay? Okay. What if... You know, there are several medical conditions that will, that will warrant abortion. You see, one thing with us Nigerians is that we are too judgmental and we try to practice religion the wrong way. We are not thinking, outside the box. So to me, abortion has, it's a cultural thing. Yes, some societies allow it, due to their own exposure and due to their own understanding. Okay? Yes, some religions also don't allow it due to their own understanding. But you see, if you look deep into it and you analyze it, there are instances where abortion is wrong because maybe you have a conjugal relationship willingly and mutually, and you get pregnant, and you now begin to say that no, I don't want this thing and all of that, and you go and abort. To me, that time you are not really using your senses correctly because you did this. There are protections.
Willingly,
so if you knew you didn't want to carry a baby, you should have used protection. You should have used contraceptive and all of that.
All right. Thank you so much. That's quite, Thank you so much for this contribution. Our time is fast spent, so much as we really love to keep hearing what you're saying, we just have to cut that right there. But yes, some very, very salient points that he has made here on air. Because for someone, we cannot completely rule it out because there are medical reasons. In fact, a doctor will medically tell you that if you hold this child, you will not be able to. Yes. I know miracles happen. I do believe in miracles. But there are times where it is logically sound or it is logically preferable for you to take that decision to take out that child so that the mother's life, so that the mother's life is also preserved. Let's have this message. This one says, good afternoon, Martha. So John shares the same birthday with me. Oh, this is Uche. Happy birthday! Yes, two of our very favorite people. Oh, I don't want to enter trouble. Two of some of our favorite people here on radio happens to be celebrating their birthday today. Happy birthday to you, Uche. We're sending you so much love and hugs right here from the studio. Now, he says, Martha, when growing up, I could remember the day I asked my father what happened at club and what do they do there. My father sat me down or shut me down and forbade me from saying it again. But that did not stop my quest, because my curiosity must be satisfied either for good or bad. And because of that single act of my dad, Martha, I locked up. Sad to say, I never had this father and son communication, which would have given me the opportunity to express my challenges to my dad. But going forward, I started clubbing at 17 and I was exposed to more than I wanted to know, which is part of my mistakes. But if my dad had told me, I would have been more careful, and I will never repeat the mistake my dad did if I am blessed with inquisitive children like me. This is Uche from Akamata. Thank you so much for being that vulnerable with us. And yes, again, these are conversations that are very important, that we need to have. We need to have these conversations. Yes, I know that. Let us just state it here that the Nigerian legal system, based on the 1999 Constitution and the Criminal Code Act of 1990, abortion is largely prohibited, except in situations where the mother's life is in danger. I know that they've been feminists pushing for women's autonomy for their bodies. You know, the country cannot decide whether or not a woman should abort a baby. But again, looking at the other side of that, promiscuity will be on the rise, because if these things are not prohibited legally, we'd see some level of promiscuity. But also, people should have, you know, the right to decide what happens to them.
It's their life,
good or bad. They should be fully aware of the consequences, just like smoking. You know, part of the agreement between the smokers and, you know, the market or whatever in the country is you must tell people the adverse effect of smoking. So on the pack of smoking or of a cigarette or a cigarette pack or whatever it is, you see that smokers are liable to die young, and you see the condemned state of the lungs of the person who smokes, but people still buy it. That way they cannot say they did not know. They made that decision by themselves, you know. So it's the same thing with someone going to have, you know, knowledge of someone, a sexual knowledge of somebody, and then coming out to say, oh, I did not plan for it. When you were going to do that without protection, it obviously means that you were ready to have a baby. So in that case, you cannot now say, oh, they must legalize abortion, because more people will start to do that and think that it's just right to take anybody's life at any time, just because they think that they, you know, made a mistake and they had a baby. So, but yes, like I said, the Constitution prohibits that. And I know that some feminist movement, pro-abortion movement have been on all over the world. People talking about how it should be legalized and people should be allowed to make decisions for themselves. And according to Section 228 of the Criminal Code Act, abortion is punishable by up to 14 years imprisonment. And that also has its own hazard, because if it is not legalized, people will opt to some very crude means of aborting babies, you know, quack doctors and all of that. And that's why we have the mortality rate for people who do abortions on a very high rate. The data is quite high. So yes, this is pretty much it. But one thing I would say is, much as you're trying to be very careful, much as you'd be shocked, because truthfully, I'll be thrown off balance if my child asks me, Mommy, what do you think about abortion? But I have to be very careful with my expressions and my exclamations at that time, because it is a very crucial moment that will determine whether my child tells me anything again, ever again, because of that reaction. Some of us never got to tell our parents anything because of how they reacted one time when something was being told to them. See what Uche said. You know, some parents, it's not their fault. They also didn't know better. You know, they were not giving proper information. It's not like anyone hands you a manual and say, this is how you are going to raise your children, these are the things you should do. They also were trying to learn. I remember most of them got married at a very young age. So they were not dealing with the temptations that relate to sexuality. They were not dealing with some of all those things, because before they were fully mature for their bodies to start responding in certain ways, they were already married. So they were within their legal and conjugal right to have whatever sexual relations that they wanted to. But at this time, the age for marriage has shifted very far, and that's why we see that things like this are starting to become important conversations that we should have in the family. So yes, whatever your decision or whatever your ideologies are about abortion, try to do it in a way that does not deter your children from telling you anything. So immediately your child says, Mama, what do you think about? Shut up your mouth there. What's wrong? Are you okay?
Where did you hear that
Where did you hear that from?
Are you going around?
Do you get that?
Doing this and that.
So that would determine a lot of things about the relationship between yourself and your children. So yes, it might be a conversation that you're not willing to have because it's abortion, by the way, and it's a very delicate issue. But however, it's important that you have this conversation so that your children do not get to learn these things outside and learn it the wrong way. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much. We have come to the very end of the Afropop hour, and the very next hour we will be talking entrepreneur is where you guys get to, advertise your business. But in the absence of any one of those ads, we will be blasting songs from the past. Keep it locked in here, and remember, you can send us messages and requests for the songs that you want to listen to on 090-9705-4450. Remember, we give you an audio-visual experience here, which means while you listen to us on radio, you can also head on to our social media pages on Facebook and on YouTube at Eagles FM Abuja, and you can catch us live. You guys really need to see me today. I look